Welcome to the Sensual Canvas, a soft landing space where creativity flows and presence becomes art. This season, I'm joined by creators, feelers, and soulful storytellers, each exploring the richness of self expression and sensual living. So take a deep breath in, settle in, and let's begin. I am here joined today on the Sensual Canvas Podcast with Yannick Cousinne.
Cousinne is right, yes.
Cousinne is right. Thank you for that. And we're here today to just talk to Yannick and see a little insight into his world. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for waking up that early to do this. We are in very different time zones, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Oh my gosh. It's such an honor to always get on the podcast with people who are just living a life so abundantly. And I look at your work online and I see how you're living not a standard life. So I really want to go into first about this nomadic life that you're living. I'm fascinated. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah. Well, I wake up very often and I'm surprised by how my reality looks like. And it was around a year ago where I was actually sitting exactly where I'm sitting now, and I was so unsatisfied with my situation. Just I felt really stuck in the country that I was living, which is Luxembourg. And I just felt the calling to explore more. So I just decided to give it all up and to pack a bag, take all my belongings, and just book one flight. In this case, that was to Sweden. And I was just going my way, not really having any specific place in mind that I wanted to see. I was just going by two rules: don't go back to Luxembourg, and go wherever you are invited. So any invitation that I received to visit people, I just went for it. And it seems to still be the case. I'm still doing it. I ditched the first rule with not going back to Luxembourg, because it did pull me back to Luxembourg, and I'm very happy that it did. But yeah, I'm still kind of on the lookout on where to settle my energy, where to live long term. But for now, it is very much on the road. Yeah.
And why Sweden?
Friends. Friends. Actually, Instagram, the same way that we met here. I had this woman, she followed me, and she was also breathwork facilitator. So we had the same profession, and we were creating content, and she really liked what I did. So we connected, and we did an interview together. She invited me on Instagram Live. Her name is Nick. And since then we just built this really beautiful internet friendship, my little internet friend. And her partner at the time, which is also the co-founder of the company that they have, we became really close friends, and it was just time for us to meet. So I just went with that first thing of okay, they want to see me, I want to see them, I want to be away from here. So I just went to Sweden. There was literally nothing else pulling me there but those two people. Yeah.
That's powerful. I mean, just this past year, I felt that similar experience of building friendships over a certain amount of time, but never having met them in person. So it's becoming this new wave of normalcy, that we know people online and we build these really profound connections, and then we meet them later on in person. So I'm curious, this whole journey is nomadism, is that a word? I'm making it a word.
Yeah, let's make it a word. Yeah.
But this whole journey, what has it taught you?
That I so don't want to live like that. It's I craved being this adventure seeker, kind of free person that creates life the way he wants to have it. And in my mind, that looked like just freedom of location, being able to be anywhere at any time. And I gave myself the permission to experience that. And I think there are elements to it that I still really like, but it became so all over the place that at one point I just felt like I did not have a home. And which was true. Still kind of is. And it's just a very unsettling feeling. So like in all transparency right now, I feel like the thing that I'm seeking the most is stability and having like a base where I can just like root my energy, still being able to travel around when there is something that is calling me, but just being somewhere and landing there. And I have a feeling that's going to happen soon. But yeah, that's like, it's like the number one thing that I took from it. It's like, you might envision your dream life a certain way, but then you get to live it and you just arrive at a new level with a whole new landscape, and you get to see further. And your dream might change and shift form, and then it's just time to adapt to that. So I got many opportunities to redefine my definition of adventure and freedom.
You mentioned a little bit about breath work. Tell me about that. How did you get into breath work?
So breath work is this beautiful modality that found me in the perfect moment. I was practicing for years and years Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. That was like my main passion and my best tool for transformation. And I felt this call to facilitate transformation work to others, but I didn't really know how. And I also knew that I couldn't teach Dr. Joe Dispenza's work to other people because it's a very precise line of teaching, and they don't want other people to teach it but them. So 3 years ago, I went through very intense heartbreak. Like a very intense heartbreak, and I didn't really know how to process all the emotions that were going on at that time. Though I did my meditations and everything, and I spent time in solitude, I just never came to the moment of emotional release. Like I was never able to like get rid of this burden. But then one day, a friend of mine, her name is Anna, she invited me to a breathwork session, and I've never done it before. I've never heard of it. And I remember like I came into this basement, there were like 7 other people. No one has done this kind of breathing before, and we're just like all going into this new experience. And 20 minutes into the session, I had this huge emotional release. I felt so much anger. I felt so much frustration, so much emotion. It just bubbled up out of nowhere. But I was just happy to see it and to kind of be able to let it go and release it. I don't know what precisely happened in that session, but I just know that it felt like I took a burden off my shoulders, and it just didn't came back. Like I freed myself up from part of that grief that I was carrying. Yeah, and it was basically after that session that I knew I needed to learn that. I just needed to learn it because it felt so powerful to experience it, and I was almost sure that facilitating that for other people could facilitate a similar experience. And yeah, I've got trained in it. I got the certification, and I went into working with one-on-one clients only in the beginning. And I had these crazy moments with my clients where people just cracked open out of nowhere. I didn't know them, they didn't know me, but it felt like the most intimate setting for both of us because they just opened up and they allowed me into their space, and they became vulnerable, and they began to express emotions that they weren't able to express in their daily life. And yeah, I just developed this love affair with breathwork since, just because it's such a beautiful, how do you say that? Like it's almost like a permission slip for you to just be who you need to be in this moment. It's a
Mm.
permission slip to bring everything and just let it exist and naturally dissolve. Anything that is just too heavy will naturally dissolve in the space eventually. So yeah, the breathwork came to me in the perfect moment. It was the tool that I was looking for to facilitate for other people, and it has helped many people. I think it's the reason why we met. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I had the pleasure of attending your breathwork sessions this past month and getting to really check in with myself that way, like through your like breathwork specifically. It transmutes very differently in my body. And I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of check-ins with my body, but the way that you hold space is just so unique. And so I think there's also a very sensual quality to your voice as well that I resonate with. And so because I can settle into that and just be like kind of like having this sensual experience with your voice and with the meditation, it is a very unique experience for me. It's fascinating. So, speaking of sensuality, I'm curious, what does sensuality mean to you?
Mm. First of all, I just want to really say thank you for also attending these past sessions. Like I'm really happy that that's the thing that resonates with you. That
Mm,
there is something unique about that helps you. I'm very happy to hear that. Um, and yeah, on the topic of sensuality, it's something that I've explored and studied for these past 2-3 years, I'd say. Like since that one breakup that cracked me open to feelings in my body that I didn't knew that would exist.
mm,
And it kind of like forced me to be sensual and to let me rephrase that. It forced me to um, open up to all the senses in my body and not
mm,
numb them, because I easily gravitate towards numbing my senses to not feeling them. And here I
mm,
was asked to open up to them and to really feel them, to dissolve anything that came up and it felt so heavy. So I think over these past years, what I've discovered is that the the more I embody my sensual self, or the more that I come in contact with my senses, the more I discover about me. It's almost like there's an infinite world within me, and I've been building a big wall to not enter that world.
mm,
And it seemed to be the case that hardships like heartbreaks, difficult, challenging situations were kind of like the door opener for me to explore this sensual space and to really get in contact with myself. Um, yeah, I'd say like it helped me to just rediscover myself and in contact with me. I mean, it's like you also said, like regarding the breath work, like I think that is such a sensual experience.
mm.
Like you so in your body,
Yeah.
you feel your entire body, and you being confronted with sensations, emotions that you have never felt before, and it always deepens the contact to yourself, this connection to yourself. So, yeah, what does it mean to you? I'm curious.
You know what? Actually, no one's ever asked me like what sensuality means to
You
me
have the
on my
invitation.
podcast. So this is awesome. Um, yes, to the senses, absolutely. But what I'm finding as well is that sensuality like goes beyond just the what I see, what I hear, what I taste, what I smell. It also goes deeper to a part of my essence, like who I am. And so I feel sensual when there's a particular connection that I can't place, like, and I feel it a lot with energy and certain people's like pools of energy. And I feel it a lot when I create my art. When I was young, I I would have a crush on a boy, and instead of, you know, like telling him, I would go into my sketchbook and I would sketch, and it would become this experience of me creating how I felt about that person. Like, and I could not even know this person, but there's something about their energy that I feel like drawn to. And that led me to create creatively and feel this like essence, like of what that is. Like I can't place it other than like feeling into self. Like it's more like tingly, and I guess it's like giddy and excitement. And yeah, it's more than just the senses outside of me, but it goes like within myself, like into a feeling in my stomach that makes me like have butterflies and excitement. Does
I love that.
that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah, I do resonate with it as well. Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm learning a lot about my sensuality through these conversations that I'm having with so many individuals. And it's fascinating how people, like, even though it is about touch and how someone embraces someone, it also is about like what that means to them. And so like deeply I feel that energy that you speak of when you mentioned the breakup and you felt like you just wanted to numb yourself. And there was a point in my life where I did feel like I didn't want to feel,
Yeah.
and it was to protect myself. But then the moment you release, you realize, wow, like that is also a sensual experience as well. That feeling of pain or discomfort, it's all accepted as well. Like the high is just as important as the low. So yeah.
And that it's really interesting. Like I host workshops here in Luxembourg. Like I had a series, I call it the reset and the rebirth. And in the rebirth, we do long, extended, conscious connected breath work. And it's a very deep journey. It's a very emotional journey. And this time I asked the participants to really tap into their sensuality throughout this journey, because it seems like sometimes people do like breathwork, for example, they just go there and they breathe and they kind of like separate it from their body, but that's like kind of not the purpose of it.
Right.
It should connect you to it. So here I really invited them to really sense their body and to like use their entire body throughout the breath to go with the movement that wants to come up and to give the entire body expression. So combining the sensual aspect with the breath, I think, is also so powerful. And I love how you describe that as it just gives you this excitement, this sense of aliveness. I love that. Yeah, it's life-giving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like we live in a day and age where it's all about seeking like happiness and seeking like the best, and we put it on a pedestal like all over social media that like we have to constantly like be on and be these performers in a sense. And I think for me it's really important to come back for me to this presence of self and just to be really proud of myself, like where I am at current. Like in this moment, I am experiencing, all these different feelings, whether they're good or bad, as people say them, but actually they're all important. And so, yeah, I don't shy away from those things that are difficult. And this personal development work that I've been experiencing with my coach, like almost 3 years now, it's just really helped me to lean into that and to really know that I can do that and be safe, that I can feel my emotions and be building trust within my body, not separating myself further from it.
You got a good coach there. Yeah, amazing. If that is that, I love that so much. It's it's like I had my mentor, she once told me, like, she was like, if you look for light, don't look within the light. It's like
Mm,
always found within the dark. And it's the it's the process of finding safety in your body that will allow you to go into the dark. I mean, it's you know, depending on your perspective, but you look out in the world and it's a very painful world. So there's a lot of very painful things happening. And I think in a time of social media, things can get really overwhelming very quickly. And the senses are overwhelmed with information. And it's not a safe place many times for us to connect and for us to go to these painful places and find value in it. I think more often than not, it's rather the safe option to gravitate towards distraction and numbness.
mm,
Um, and still, like, if you have the opportunity to work with a person or to have this friend circle that is really aware and that wants to create a more beautiful world, you will find these safe spaces to go into this pain and find the beauty in it. I think like it all goes through the pain. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it goes through the pain, but it will result in more life, in more enthusiasm, in more bliss, in more awe, in more ecstasy. And I think we should, like, well, should is always a big word, but it's
But
really efficient to find safe spaces all around. Like, may that be with a coach, a therapist, with a friend, family member, in nature, um, to just expose yourself to more safety, to familiarize yourself with what safety feels like, to open up to any little box that is stored there in the subconscious, to liberate yourself. Yeah.
yeah, it definitely took me some time to go there. And when I went there, I saw that there was this very frightened part of me that had been wanting to just be seen for so long. And so I welcome that for anyone that has like that safe place to go there and just be held, be seen, even by themselves. Like you mentioned, solitude. It's, you know, sometimes for some people, it's just about like being with their own thoughts and just feeling into that space. And so I personally felt like having that coach was going to take me to that next level quicker, and not in the quicker in the sense like I'm trying to, you know, I'm in a race with myself, but in the sense that I had been doing this work alone for so long and I needed that extra push of guidance to know like where do I go from here. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's very profound
Yeah.
finally finding that person that sees you and that can guide you and hold
Yeah.
space for you. So
It's invaluable. It's invaluable. And I think like it's so interesting when you say like through the coach you are able to go there quicker. Whereas it is, in a way, it's just like you having someone next to you whom you feel safe with,
mm,
and you just it's like that little safety zone that allows you to enter these places quicker, because you feel like you can actually go there. And I think there's so much value in spending time in solitude, being with yourself. But, and I could be wrong with this, but what I'm reflecting on lately is every trauma that you dissolve, or any conflict that you dissolve within your own psyche, within your own unconscious mind, you will need the relationship to integrate it. So it's
mm,
integration is always interrelational, that you have this one person that you work it through, and you familiarize your nervous system that it's safe to actually come with this change and to integrate it. And I
yeah.
think a coach like is a perfect, it's a perfect person to do that. And then you bring it over into your personal life, and you bring it to your partner, or you bring it to your family members or your friends. Well, I'm very happy to hear that that's your experience of life right now. Congrats. That's good.
Thank you. And honestly, like I don't think that I have this I don't think that I'm unique in this sense. Like I believe truly that like all people can tap into this like essence of self, like this deep, like once you move past the pain and heal these different parts of yourself, you come to find like this beautiful like essence of self that what I feel allows me to create like fully. And when I get into that space of just, it's like a clear headedness, it's like a knowing of self, I'm just able to just put paint onto the canvas the way that I can't like describe. It's just merely a feeling and an experience. But yeah, do you do any form of creative outlet other than the breath work?
I mean, like I do consider myself an artist. I heard
Mm-hmm.
that a few years back from one of my mentors, who do not know that he's my mentor, but it's Flint Skidmore.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, everything changed for me once I considered myself as an artist. Everything is art. The way that I do my business, the way that I interact with the cashier at the supermarket, the way I create content. So I really try to adopt that, and I really like the result of that, because I do have a lot of creative outlets. I mean, if it's just writing, if it is having a conversation with my partner, just like creating the most beautiful piece in that conversation, going in nature and like just admiring the creative power of nature. I have many creative outlets, and I think sometimes I'm yeah, I don't know, how should I say this? Like, creativity is always linked to beauty in a way. And I just love beauty, and I want to create a really beautiful world. And the more I engage myself in these creative endeavors, whatever that might be, if that is writing or like just admiring beauty in nature, it just emphasizes that in me. So it's like everything is kind of like art for me. Yeah.
I heard this same lesson from Rick Rubin. He wrote The Creative Act. And so that whole thing about like artistry and creativity being everywhere, it is in how you show up in life. It is what you choose. Like all those things that you were mentioning, it's like the path you take to get home, whether you're driving, having a conversation with someone. So, and I think a lot of people out there are thinking to themselves, art is linear. It is painting, drawing, very specific. And actually, like the moment that you start looking at like that your whole life is like a canvas, is a whole, opportunity to create whatever you want. Like it just becomes this fun, like expressive thing. So I love how that also kind of ties into what you said before about like, being a nomad and just creating whatever you wanted, like from what you felt and just doing what you wanted. And most people can't get out of that grind of, safety and money in their jobs, in their families and certain friend groups. And so it's just very, very beautiful to see that you took that leap of faith and tried that, something completely out of the norm than what, yeah.
It's so interesting, like bringing being an artist requires you to be brave. No, it's like also like in history. I mean, like if you just look at like a painter, like it's always been considered like this, like it's a special thing for a person to devote so much time to a painting, and then to either sell it or like have an exhibition. like it requires bravery to do that. And I think every artist or everyone who is like using their creative power in any way that they want to is a very brave person, because they go against the norm. I think an artist is someone who's going against the norm, who is innovating new ways, who is discovering their way of doing things, their own taste and style. And it's as much as you have a blank canvas in front of you and you got just like a whole array of colors. There's endless possibilities for you to paint that canvas. Like you mentioned, it is the same with life. You have this well already colored thing. I mean, you live this certain little bit of life, and if you like believe in like afterlives, there might be like some color on it, but you can always paint it over and start again. And it requires so much courage for you to create your life willingly. It's like almost like, now that I think about it, it's like almost like this color that you already have on the canvas from these previous years.
Yeah.
It's like brushing over these colors. In this case, in this analogy, is not as simple as just like taking the brush. It requires work, and it requires you to go to these dark places to like kind of like hit the reset button. But after you've done that work and you've dissolved the burden or the colors that you don't like in this analogy, you have infinite ways to create art, infinite ways. And I might be wrong with that. I don't know if that's true, but I just really like that perspective and I live by it every day.
I love it. It's so interesting because like when I create some of my recent pieces have been abstract works of art. And so I allow myself to be very expressive and free. And so I don't really have a direction to go yet. Like when I first am in that phase of just free flowing right brain creativity. And so, and knowing that like I can just create that and then slowly the layers will come together with the paint on top of it, I know that there is a part of that where I can still show that first layer through if I desire. And so I think there's beauty to that too, because we don't have to strip that whole first layer of being seen completely. We can show that as well. You know, it can come through and make the piece complete. Does that make sense?
I like that. Yeah. I really like that. That's really cool. I really love that. And it's like almost like it could be the case that the way you do your art right now with more like an abstract approach, it's like that what you just shared being like a direct reflection of how you live life right now and like what you value the most right now.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful.
Thank you. So this piece of self-expression, like you mentioned it a little bit in your breath work, but I'm curious, like this form of expression, like what does it feel like in your body to truly feel like you're tapping into your personal self-expression?
It's excitement. Excitement, it's aliveness, it's limitless, it feels empowering. Like it's almost like if I tap into this state of self-expression, I give other people the same permission. I don't know actually if that's true, but it like I've seen it. Yeah, it's freeing, huh? Isn't it? Freeing and scary. It's like I remember like over a year ago when I booked that one-way ticket and I packed all my stuff. It felt so intimidating, but it felt also so aligned. And it felt so intimidating until I was in the plane to actually leave the country. that I tapped into the excitement. And I feel like sometimes this self-expression and basically like expressing yourself in the way that feels most aligned can be so scary, can be so like overwhelmingly intimidating. But there is like some kind of whisper in you that tells you like, yeah, it's the thing. Like just do the thing. Like you'll know after. And then at one point there's this excitement and this bubbliness and this state of awe that comes with it. So it's both. It's a lot.
Yeah. When was the last time that you experienced this self-expression?
Like 90 minutes ago, I'd say. Yeah, I mean, I had a shower after the workout and I just danced around and it felt like that. But it's really interesting. Like I had this kind of like this polarity of like both things. In an experience that I had over these past months, like I entered a relationship with an amazing woman, and I met her in my travels, and I always knew like how aligned she felt to me, and just this expansion that I felt when I imagined myself being with her and building a container of relationship. But I also found myself resisting that a lot and just like being like, oh no, don't do that. Because like I think there was just a part in me for some time that was really afraid to like commit my energy to something that feels so real, so authentic. I think that a part of me thought that he'd need to give up something, until I realized the moment where I committed my energy to her and to this container, that everything just felt so right, so aligned. And just took this little overcoming to just reap the benefits of just doing the thing that is most aligned.
So this relationship, you feel like you were holding back from it?
No, now I'm like full on in it. It's like the most expansive, most beautiful thing there is. It just took me some time to get there. It's like, I think everyone listening to this has this little whisper, like you could call it intuition, words from your heart, some whisper that lets you know the next step. It tells you that is the thing that will broaden your horizon of fulfillment. And there is one or multiple parts that resist this very impulse, because they know exactly like they need to kind of sacrifice themselves for that intuition to flourish. And it just sometimes takes you overcoming yourself to take the one step, follow that one whisper, listen to your intuition, and just enter a whole new state of expansiveness. So that's where I'm finding myself now. I mean, it's the most magnificent thing, this relationship. It's gorgeous.
I have been in a relationship now for over 10 years. So I definitely feel like what you're speaking on, because like there was a relationship previous to this where I felt this fear of losing this person constantly. And it was always worrying about, whether this person was going to still desire me, want me, all these things. And I was holding on so tightly that when it finally came to the end, it was just like my whole just world just came crumbling down. Whereas now, like being in this relationship and doing this work and building like just my toolbox of all these things that I know about myself and my relationship with the universe, and just I feel like I fear less losing him. And so there were moments in my life where I would wake up in a panic and just feel like, oh, I can never lose him. I have to go first. Like I could never bear the pain of, like, the pain would be too excruciating to live with, like living without this person. But like as I continue this relationship, it's really beautiful to find myself releasing this, I don't know, this idea that if one of us were to ever go, that we would be okay, that like life would go on, and it would never take away all that time that we had spent together. So I don't know, you brought that up, and I think I see that, and it just reminds me of the peace that we can feel like when we come to that place. And when we're in that expansion, we can also know like it's okay, like if it no longer exists, you
Yeah.
know, kind of bringing it back to, that relationship that you were in, and you were numbing everything out. And then the moment that you allowed yourself to feel it, it's just like, oh, wow, there's a whole world like on the other side of this feeling and
Yeah.
this numbness and pain. Yeah.
That's really beautiful. Yeah. And it's like almost like your partner giving you the safe space that you need to just go through that pain. It's
Mm,
like if you felt this anxiety or this fear of losing him,
yeah.
and you couldn't bear the pain of living in a world where he is not part of it.
Hmm.
It's like how challenging must that be to be with that person and to have that fear? I mean, it's constant confrontation, and yet it still seems to be the case that that person is still in your life. And
Mm,
I think that is the beauty of relationship, right? It's like you being confronted with very, very dark parts about yourself, and you have the opportunity to just work through it if the space is given. I mean, it's not definitely not the case for every relationship, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that first relationship, it was like fear from me, fear from him. And so it was constantly this like scarcity mindset of what we didn't have. And now it's just, I look around and it's just abundant. And,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, it took some time to get there,
Mhm.
but it doesn't come overnight. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth it to have gone through like these shadow aspects of myself, and really like, I don't even want to say confronting them, but just meeting them and knowing that they're welcome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So you mentioned change, and you mentioned the transformation that's been going on in the world. Tell me, how are you navigating these times?
Mm.
I
It's a
know
good
it's a
question.
loaded question.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, we talked about the central aspect, and I don't know if it's related to it or not, but like the sensitivity towards the outside world. People call like people, some people call themselves like highly sensitive people,
Mm,
that they just feel a lot. And I think now more than ever, you have a lot of things that you can feel when you just look at news, when you look at social media, when you talk to your friend. Um, there's a lot happening out there, and I think, to me, I try to build the skill of staying in my own world while being connected to the outer world, kind of like knowing what's going on, but then also having a really critical perspective on that, and not having it sacrifice my own well-being. So having my non-negotiables in place, like doing my meditation, taking my time out, going to the forest, like just go on long walks, doing things that I know will naturally make myself feel good. And don't let the pace in which the world is changing affect the pace in which you're changing. It's almost like, especially in the transformational space, you have like before and afters, and you have testimonials of people doing the work, and then they have this crazy breakthrough, and it kind of messes with your own perception of what could be and what is. And I think sometimes we can get, like, our own perception can get cluttered by the outer world. So I think there is a lot of value in just like retreating to your own world and acknowledging your own pace in which you are changing and evolving and transforming. So I think that's something that I'm doing right now. It's like everything is changing at such a rapid pace. And I feel collectively there's this energy available for us to tap into this like rapid change and like evolving quickly. But slowing down to me has been number one thing. Whereas it's just like, I feel like that's my rhythm. I'm just slow guy and I really like slow. And I try to respect my own rhythm and go in my own pace. And sometimes, and it's like, I don't want to say it here online, but like I have to be transparent. Like sometimes just closing my eyes to the outside world, not being engaged with it, because it's just a little bit too crazy and it can affect me. But yeah, trying to keep an eye open and keeping myself in my own energy. Yeah. How are you dealing with it? How are you doing it?
I feel like when there was a part of my life where I really was engaged with like current events and the news and all these different forms of, you know, information that were constantly being fed to me. But what I know about myself is that I too am like sensitive to the information that I gather. And so I feel that sometimes I I allow myself that space to also work through the things that are in my life so that I may go into the world and spread that light and be that beacon of like what else there is. So, and I think sometimes consuming all this type of just really heavy information can weigh down on me. And so I go out into the world, and if I'm, emulating that type of energy, it's almost like people pick up on that. And so me knowing that I'm protecting my energy, I'm not being naive to what's going on, but at the same time, I know that if I create this beautiful, like, I don't want to say it's like a bubble, but it's almost like a ray of like light that I'm sharing. If I continue to build that instead of, feeding myself with things that dim my light and make me feel small, that I can hold space when someone comes to me with a conversation that is heavy in the sense. So, and I feel that definitely different in my life. I feel like I'm able to hold space for people in a way that I wasn't when I was consuming all of that just noise. I feel like it was noise. So yeah, I definitely am aware of what's going on in the world, but I don't let it consume me and let it become something that debilitates me and something that like keeps me from progressing and from sharing and shining my light. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for listening.
Mm.
Yannick, it's been such a wonderful conversation with you. And I thank you so much for opening up and just sharing this space with me. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the whole conversation. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that you invited me to this, and that through the online sessions that you came up with this. I'm really grateful for that.
Thank you. Thank you again to Yannick Cousinne for joining me on the Sensual Canvas today and really opening up about his life, his nomadic life, and really just sharing very personal aspects of his life. And so I'm so grateful that I can, first of all, have this space to be able to talk to individuals about their lives and just their different ways of seeing sensuality, seeing creativity and self-expression. So I'm always fascinated to come on here and talk about these different just views that different people have. So I highly recommend to attend one of Yannick's breathwork sessions if you haven't already. It is incredibly nourishing, the type of work that he does. And I have had the pleasure of doing his meditations on countless occasions. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out his work. Drop him a message. He's so kind as this way with connecting with people on a very authentic level. So if you are interested in his work, I'll be sure to put his info in the description down below. And if you're looking for a sensual meditation, a sensual little practice, I have also added my meditation down below, so you can give that a shot if that's something that calls to you. I really enjoy having these conversations, and it's really fascinating to me to just connect with so many different types of people in the world. So I'm going to continue to do that. If this spoke to you in some way, I want to hear about it. So be sure to leave a little like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll see you soon.